Yeah, welcome today. Today we are focused on gearing up for the gig fair. We have a couple of guests here who will introduce to really focus on how to have a quick, concise pitch to introduce yourself to talent buyers and have a brief conversation with them, whether that is in the context of the gig fair and you have 5 minutes each with a talent buyer as a band, or whether you're having those conversations outside of the gig fair at any time during the week, which is also highly recommended. So I put a note in the chat, but please introduce yourself in the chat, just with your name. If you're part of a band, please include your band name, where you're joining from, and if you are a showcase artist, just let us know that. That's great to know. And then if you also could include your website and email address, we'll be emailing everyone who attended afterwards with access to the slides and a recording of today's webinar and some other information about being in touch with us. So we'll use that to get in touch with you.
Okay. For our format today, after we introduce everyone, we'll have a presentation from Todd and Coley, who've had a lot of experience as talent buyers. Then we're going to be doing a little bit of breakout room practice. And first, we want to introduce ourselves as Music and Community Network. I'm Nancy Posey. And for many years, my day job has been in the academic world. I have a doctorate in educational leadership, and I teach communications. I teach composition and literature, but my passion has always been music. I grew up in the Muscle Shoals area. I moved to North Carolina and lived many years in Doc Watson country, where I really learned to love bluegrass. And I've been in Nashville for the last 8 years. I've gotten involved recently using my skills and interest writing for music publications, including Bluegrass Unlimited and No Depression Magazine and others. I'm also a songwriter, and two of my co-writes have been recorded this summer. So I'll be a moderator at the IBMA, one of the songwriting sessions. So I hope I'll get to meet you there as well. Kristen?
And I'm Kristen Davidson. I also have a doctorate in education and previous experience in the education world. And I now do grant writing for a variety of organizations, including IBMA and other music organizations and educational organizations. And Nancy and I actually met at IBMA World of Bluegrass last year. We were in the Dark Shadow Recording Bluegrass Ambassadors Suite, which is the place to be at night. So if you haven't before, definitely check that out this year. If you're interested in volunteering in that suite, please let me know. We are looking for volunteers, and we met there and said we have all these things in common, our history and education and our love for bluegrass music and music in general. What can we do? We decided to start offering these workshops to support musicians. We just, at our heart, want to support all of you in being able to kind of learn the tools and things to around your professional presence that's going to help you to succeed and do what you do best. So today we have a couple, and then we bring on guests from the music industry to share their expertise. And we're grateful today to have Todd and Coley.
All right. Yeah, Todd Michael is participating as a talent buyer at the gig fair again this year. I think he's been active for the past 3 years. He'll be representing the Podunk Bluegrass Festival in Connecticut, for which he is a promoter and a board member. He's also produced and facilitated other bluegrass concert series, including one in West Suffolk, Connecticut at the VFW. He also hosts a bluegrass radio show on WWH for the University of Hartford. We're happy to have Todd.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And Coley Biller and her husband ran Texas Bluegrass Music for many years, hosting multiple festivals every year. And in that context, Coley has participated in the gig fair several times, more than several times, I think, since the inception of the gig fair, and has just a wealth of experience in booking artists across different kind of flavors or genres within bluegrass music. And we've had some lovely conversations about what artists need to know for the gig fair. And so we're just grateful to invite Todd and Coley to share their experience today.
Hello, grateful to be here.
Turn
Happy.
it over to you both.
Happy that it's all working.
Yeah.
All right. Why does preparing for the gig fair matter? Well, being successful in a band, it takes a lot of work. And we know that not just the talent that you create throughout the years, writing and learning your instruments and learning all that, but selling yourself. And it's going to IBMA is an investment. You're going to be paying to go down there. There's hotels, there's food, there's travel. And we really want to make sure that you're going to get the best bang for your buck and put the time and effort in the right direction for going down there. So that's where the passion for this particular webinar lies. The gig fair is kind of your resume. When you're going there, your resume for the gig fair is trying to get the talent buyer to purchase or to convince them to go to your showcase if you have a showcase, or if you have a gig, if you have a show, you want them to go there. That's your 5 minutes to create enough interest in order to get the talent buyer to your showcase, which in turn really does become your interview. Anything, Coley? You're muted, Coley.
I agree with everything you said. It is your 5 minutes of fame in front of the buyer, because a lot of times we purchase bands and we've only seen you from afar. We've talked to you about how much you're going to charge us, and then you're on our stage, and that's pretty much it unless we've talked to you before. So it's a good time.
Yeah, so with that in mind, we've come up with some do's and don'ts. And don't sign up with festivals or venues that aren't a fit. And that could mean a lot of things. Traditional bluegrass festivals aren't going to sign a progressive band. So if you're a progressive bluegrass festival band that's doesn't fit in with that genre, then maybe not waste the time of selecting that venue. Distance may be an issue, time of the year, and then financial considerations, and that goes along with distance. Is it going to be worth your time for what you're going to make at that festival to or venue to consider going there? So those are things to consider. And that goes to dues. Research the festival and venue. It doesn't take, everybody's got the internet in their pocket. You can look up a website, look up the festival, look up the venue, see if that's a place that you'd fit in well. Look at the artists that they've had over the past couple of years. See if that's kind of in your wheelhouse. Look at their schedule and understand how they set up their stages and their schedule, and if their set lengths or kind of what your strengths are. And again, if it's traditional bluegrass festival and your traditional band, that's a good fit. If not, then maybe it's not gonna work out. And see, when you're there, create a spreadsheet for who you've talked to, and that way you will have something to refer back to where you can kind of reference them and get remember the answers that they've given you in terms of what are they looking for, when do they hire their bands, or when what's their time of year, what part of the country, that kind of stuff. So I think it's Coley, you want to add to?
Well, basically, everybody that I talk to, they always say, well, we want to come to Texas. They all want to come to Texas, but they don't realize how far away we are. So it's really important that you figure out your travel expenses to get from A to B, because it can eat your lunch before you ever even get on stage. Everybody, I can't tell you how many people just said, oh, I want to come to Texas. Oh, I got to come to Texas. And I always ask them, do you realize how far away we are from Connecticut or from New York? So anyway,
I think Texas holds about 100 Connecticut's inside of Texas.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. And I didn't realize how far we were away from everything until I moved here. And then I realized, oh my gosh, it's not just down the street, So anyway, it's real important to know where you're going.
All right, that kind of goes to understand that your band itself is a small business, and that you have to know your cost and your price. So just don't forget that you're coming down there as a business owner or as part of a small business, and you're selling your wares. So some dues would be know the price for each festival or venue. So how much is it going to cost you to go to these festivals or venues? Is this something that you're going to be able to recoup with what you can get paid for? Consider the price of travel, lodging, accommodations, and add this, of course, to your going back to the spreadsheet. And don't show up. No, that was good. Don't show up empty-handed. So my experience as a talent buyer, we've had people just show up and don't have any idea of what to talk about. They don't have anything to hand us. We're not, and I'm not talking. And if we go to the do slide, do have showcase times and locations. If you're paying for being on the show, doing the showcase, have a list of times. As talent buyer, I'm going to be going to many showcases. We split our team up into 4, and we go check out all of the bands that have interest in us, all the bands that we have interest in, and so have a schedule. That's if you look at that Henhouse Prowlers showcase card, that's beautiful. It's got the schedule. It talks about the band, and it's got a QR code if you can do that, where it leads you to some place where, of course, Amazon's delivering. It leads you to a place where we can watch one of your something where we can watch your show. If you have a stage show somewhere, a video on YouTube, your website that you could lead us to, that would be great. CDs are nice, but no, we're not gonna hire anybody off a CD because CDs are edited, and we kind of want to see the raw stage show, that kind of stuff. So something like this, one of these cards is great for us when we get there. Don't look like you just roll out of bed. Now I know it's IBMA, and you're going to have a great time picking with your best friends and people, your idols. But when you show up at the gig fair, show up at least with shoes on and not looking like you combed your hair with a rock, where you just
Combed your hair with a rock. Right.
So
That's
yeah,
my pet peeve.
Right. Yeah.
That's my pet peeve, Todd, is to show up what you're going to look like on stage. I don't want to see you in the shirt that you wore 3 days ago when you were traveling, or that
Right.
you were playing till 3 a.m. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Ideally, you'd wear what you kind of. It's a job. It's kind of a job interview, resume of sorts. Ideally, you'd wear what you wear on stage, or at least cleaned up and look like it. You want to be there, and give us it. What that does is it gives us a sense of your stage presence. And we talked earlier. There are bands. Everybody knows Cody Norris. They show up. They're always in character, so to speak.
Costume.
And yeah, and Nick Chandler. I mean, there's something to be said for that. I'm not saying everybody needs to do that. That's not going to make or break anything. It's just a really good. It gives a good sense of what to expect with the band. Do you agree, Coley?
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm telling you, everybody is so much younger than I am, and I look at you and I go, oh my gosh, but you can really look your part without looking like you're 12. And anyway, it's a pet peeve for me that everybody looks like they're cleaned up and ready for a job and ready to go on stage if I needed them to go.
And you don't have a second chance to make a first impression.
And you only got 5 minutes sitting in front of me, and if I don't like you and I don't want to go see one of your showcases, it's done.
All right. Well, next one is don't worry.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah,
that's your hairstyle, Todd.
Yes. Don't waste your time with small talk. And I'm going to give a quick example of this. Of course, Amazon's now coming up my driveway. I apologize, folks. Didn't mean this to happen. So, we've had people sit down with us, and the first thing out of their mouth is, "So tell me about your festival," which I'm happy to do that. I will talk about the Podunk Bluegrass Festival for hours, but you got 5 minutes, and I'm not trying to sell myself to you. And no offense, we just need to. You need to have a very detailed description, short description of your band and what you do and what you provide. It's you're selling your wares. So that's
Kristen, it's on. Yeah. Can you move it to the next? There it is.
yeah. What you should do, what's good for us is you prepare a 1 to 2 minute pitch. You know, who are you? How do you fit in with our festival? Venues that you've played, artists that you've played with. If there's ways that you can help us promote the festival when we bring you on, and how you as a band interact with attendees. Do you do workshops? Do you spend time picking? Do you do late night jams? You know, we have a late night jam at our festival that's actually getting a lot of press, I guess, a lot of acknowledgement. People starting to know about it, and be prepared to discuss your way, you know, how much you're looking for, and all that other stuff with them at that time. So.
Also, Todd, Mike Wilson brought up to me that not all festivals are the same. We need to know if you're traditional, who you're bringing with you, who is your following, what kind of crowd are you going to bring in, or are you new wave? What are you? And what can we expect if we hire you and put you on our flyer? Are we going to have all kinds of excitement when somebody says, I'm coming to see them? So we need to know that, like, who's your following? I think that's in there somewhere, but
Yes.
I thought it was a great point that Mike brought up, that not all festivals are the same. What he has to hire in North Carolina and what I hire in Texas are way different. He's got a festival on every corner, and he has to compete with all of those festivals around his area. I have very few, and if I just hire somebody that plays well, whether the people know them or not, they'll show up. So it's a big difference. Did I jump ahead or something?
No, you're good.
All right.
This is a huge IBMA is putting together a huge conference, so don't miss opportunities to make connections. I'm going to be there Sunday. If anybody wants to, you know, if you see me, stop, and I'm happy to talk to everybody. If you don't get to the venue that you want at the gig fair, remember them. Remember who was at the gig fair. Go talk to them afterwards. You know, after the gig fair, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go get a drink and hang out. And if you want to talk to Podunk, come by us. We're happy to talk to you. Just because you miss an opportunity at the gig fair, it doesn't mean you've missed the opportunity altogether. So take advantage of no shows. We had 2 no shows last year. I think one, I guess it was a travel issue or what have you. If you see a venue that you want to go to and you don't have anybody that you at that time, sit down and talk to them. So that, you know, and I recommend, if you see, notice who's there, and take a picture of the people representing it. And then when you see them around, go up and talk to them. Tell them you miss them at the gig fair and you still want to come there. So it's essentially the gig fair is going to go on all week. So also, if you don't have a showcase, invite people to your jams. Come up with a time and a place that you're going to jam, whether it be outside of the conference center right there, or at a hotel room, whatever. I'm happy to go see you play wherever whenever you're available. So think that as well. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that you can take advantage of while you're there. Anything, Coley?
Yeah, like you said, consider yourself on all week. Anywhere you go, if you've got that instrument strapped on your back, you can showcase yourself. People play in the hallway, they play everywhere. If you haven't been before, it's a real eye opener. And promoters are everywhere. You never know. Mike will sneak up on you and you not know it. I'm talking about Mike Wilson. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm always listening. Everywhere I go, I'm listening, and I'll go up and listen to people picking and stuff. And it's use it to the best of your ability or use it for what it is. It's an opportunity for you to not have to send an email to a venue that you want to go to. It's an opportunity for you to, shake hands, they call it shake hands and say howdy to the people who are going to be on the other end of your correspondence while you're trying to get um, shows or gigs down in the future. And it really helps. It really does help. So anyway, questions you might ask. What are some venues nearby? And why would you want to ask that? Well, if you're going to make your way across the country to get to this particular festival, you can pick up venues on the way. I know a lot of bands that do that, and they're very good at it. And that being said, talk to bands while you're there who do things like that. I know Stillhouse Junkies. They're very good at finding venues to play on their way to gigs. Damn Tall Buildings. Bands like that. Talk to them. Find out where they're playing, whether it's Daryl's Place or Cantab Lilies in Boston. Those kind of places are fantastic for you to continue, to be able to put a tour together so you can make a venue work for you. And what do you ask them what they're looking for in the artists who they book. Podunk is a mostly traditional bluegrass festival, but we do have progressive acts, and we're starting to. I'm sorry, I just got a message. And we're starting to throw more progressive bands in there here and there. So that's always a good question to ask. Ask them about their schedule. Is it full, and what are their needs at this point? We normally go to IBMA with a couple of vacancies. We like to leave a few slots open so we can see what's available and what would be a good fit for our year. We like to have a variety. And then another question is, when is a good time to contact for booking in the upcoming years? We book our headliners first, and then we work our way down throughout the schedule to fill in what works for us. And so contacting us after the first of the year, February, March is a good time. But it's different for every festival, and Coley can tell you about hers.
Yeah, I would welcome your call anytime, because I've had bands drop out at the very last minute, and I go, oh great, now I got to scramble to try to find somebody. So it's good to have somebody on the list that's ready and willing and ready to come. It's a hard sell if you're coming from Connecticut to Texas, but if they were willing enough to come to the gig fair and say, we really want to come to Texas, then I'm really willing to book them and let them worry about how they're going to get here.
All right, tips for buyers.
Filling in the gaps.
Yeah, know your audience and your budget, and share your information. So if an artist comes up to you, we let them know that we lean more traditional, but we're open to different things. So have an open mind. Look at every band objectively. Last year, we saw a band at Gray Fox, and they were fantastic, but they weren't traditional. But it was just such a good band. And then we saw them again at IBMA. We couldn't help but sign them. They were and we're so glad we did. They came across a lot of our surveys as a new favorite band, and it was really good. So keep an open mind and be realistic. Make a realistic list of bands to go see at the showcases, as all these talent buyers know that we have to split ourselves up into 4 so we can go and see all the bands that we want to see and make notes and stuff like that. So you can split up your team and go do that. Plan your IBMA schedule, and so you're not overextending yourself there. I've overextended myself every time I've been there. I think I'm hitting like 25 to 30,000 steps during the showcases, because I got to go from one showcase to another. And then check out open mics in the exhibit hall. That's a great place to meet people, and these bands, they spend a lot of money to have the booths down there, and go down and check them out. They're really working hard, and consider doing something like that.
Yeah, I saw some bands that I hadn't seen before, and I saw them in the exhibit hall and exchanged information. Ultimately booked them after I got back home, but I didn't see them at the gig fair.
Right.
They weren't anywhere, but they had a booth down there. I don't even know why. They were, I don't know. It was just their individual. It's expensive, but some bands do it.
So,
So
all right.
anyway,
Yeah, we have a couple questions going on already. So one quick one is just the open mic in the exhibit hall is
Sponsored by
is
Martin, I
that just kind
believe.
of open, or do you know if there are signups?
well,
No, whoever
Martin is out on the
is doing
street.
it.
Martin is usually out on the street, but Gibson has one, and then I forget who's down at the end. Do you remember?
Virginia is for Lovers. Virginia's for Lovers had one.
Yeah. There you go. That's who it was. And they love people get up on stage, and it's usually impromptu. It's not scheduled. Now Martin, you kind of have to get on the list, but anybody can get on the list.
The Virginia is for Lovers stage had a sign up. We were on that. My kids were on that long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, and you just find those spots in the exhibit hall and go
Right.
sign up there, right?
And you might have
Yeah.
30 minutes notice. So you might sign up for Friday or something.
Okay. We also had a question from Yvonne asking if either one of you, Coley or Todd, have you actually booked anyone as a result of the gig fair?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I come home with all kinds of CDs and all kinds of paperwork and stuff. I don't get to that until I get home, and rarely do I even get to a lot of those CDs. And especially, our cars don't have CD players in them anymore. So that screws it up. But yeah, it's from seeing them there. Maybe not necessarily at the gig fair, but I got an inkling that I needed to go see them wherever they were. And yeah, I hired them. It's important. It's important to get out there.
And
We also had some, go ahead.
We've
I was
got
gonna say, I could
questions
give a
about
couple of examples of-
pricing that I want to get to, but just to clarify, I think Austin, you had a follow up just on. Can you clarify your question, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, Kathy was talking about the open mic thing, but we were also talking before about like when you go to the gig fair, you want to have, printed on a piece of paper all the showcase times. Like right now, I can't put that because I don't even know where they are. A lot of times they don't formulate until like the week before, And we're obviously still working on that. But it sounds like that particular one is not one that you could put on a postcard unless you wrote it in pen like last minute.
But you can have a landing page for your QR code. So if you have the QR code, you can update your web page if you have a secret web link that QR brings you to.
Yeah, someone asked about the QR code to live performances, and those could be a variety of things. I think if you were in it, we had a couple of our earlier sessions, and one thing that I think Jeff Burke talked about was being able to see not just a video of one that was shot in the studio, but show yourself playing at venues or playing at festivals, maybe one that that shows how the audience interacts and that gives a sense of your stage presence. So those could be a variety, as long as it gives the talent buyers a chance to see what it really looks like to see you on stage.
And I know there are a few questions on pricing, so I just want to make sure we got to that. Feel free to unmute and speak up to clarify your question. But it looks like a few people are asking, if you just have any recommendations on how bands might go ahead pricing themselves.
Yeah,
for different venues.
Don't price yourself where.
Yeah, don't price yourself out of the market. Yeah.
Well, that's one. Yeah. A couple of bands I know have done that, but don't underprice. Don't go to a venue just so you can say you went to that venue and then end up losing a bunch of money. So you've gotta be able to at least keep your band going. So that's just my recommendation. But take into account your travel, your the advertisement, your stage show, and then add. It's kind of hard for me because I'm not an artist, but I know of artists that have you get a quote from them and you can't believe that they're only charging this much. So you kind of have to do your homework and figure out what you can bring in, how many people you're going to bring in for the show, and that's kind of how we negotiate with bands. We know that we can pay this much, and we know we're going to get a good chunk of our festival goers to come see that particular band, so we can pay them more. And I don't know if that helps, but definitely go and make sure you don't underprice yourself, so you can at least continue to go. So I don't know if that helped. Probably not. Sorry.
No, it helps. It helps people. Every little bit of information is good for these bands that have not, done this and maybe are just venturing out.
Katie, did you want to share?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned the hard way by, not asking the right questions. When you're approaching a buyer, the very important questions to ask are, how many days do you want us there? Because a lot of these festivals, it's 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
And keep this in mind for what I'm going to say in a minute. So how many days, how many sets per day? Are there going to be workshops involved? Do they provide lodging and meals? Also keep in consideration, do you need to travel? But that can come up later. The reason why I ask how many days, because day one day, that's a lot of travel and it's a lot of work. So your price might be a little higher. As you get into day 2 or 3, your price doesn't have to double. You just add a little bit more and a little bit more. They're getting a deal and you're getting in front of more people and making some more money. You still have to make sure your expenses are covered. Give them a price with or without lodging, or ask for a buyout of a certain amount for your hotel spaces. A lot of them will negotiate with you to make it happen. And also, you can also ask for a buyout on food if they don't provide food. Not all will say yes, but you can ask. And they don't get, Todd, I've worked with Todd for Full Chord with Podunk, and they're used to these questions. These are not offensive questions. They want you to know what they can and cannot do. I've also worked with Ross. So that's my advice on that. Don't start too low. That's your value.
And
But
do
be
you
willing to
literally
negotiate.
do you map out the travel and the gas costs and
I have.
Or-
That's something that I have done in the past. I've kind of gone a little bit beyond that and allow the bands and the person in those bands responsible for their logistics to kind of work with that information. But our biggest thing, those biggest expenses are going to be the travel. Are they flying? Are they renting? And is lodging covered? If lodging is covered, and more festivals should be providing this, it's huge for these traveling artists. If lodging is covered, that's a huge expense saver for an artist. It really is. So whether it's hotels or Airbnbs, but something for an artist to consider when you're giving that pitch.
Can I ask Mike? He's done a lot of hiring and firing more than I have actually. Can I ask him some questions? Because I want him to interject what he does for his festivals. Do you pay for lodging, Mike?
Well,
What do you pay for lodging, Mike?
it varies. I have on occasion. I prefer not to, but what I will do is reimburse them if it's a hotel room, just hotel rooms that are sponsors that give a reduced rate, but I don't put my name on none of it.
I love that method. I know artists would appreciate that very much, because lodging is a nightmare for you when you're booking.
And like I said, I don't do that for all of them, but for certain instances, it's an individual thing. If they explain to me what their situation is and they really need this and I really want them, then we'll make it happen. But as a general rule, if XYZ band come up and said, you provide lodging, my answer is going to be generally not.
And for artists on here, that's when I ask for a phone call so we can be friends and communicate.
And that's one thing I've not heard talked about that I think is is paramount. If these bands need to make connection with established bands, because if I've got an established band that has worked for me 6, 8 times, over the years, if they come and tell me, have you heard such and such a band? No, I've never heard of them. You need to hear them. They're really good. I've done it on 2 occasions in the last however many years I've been doing this. Since 1978, y'all do the math.
See, I told you he was older than I was.
Do what?
I said, I told him that you were older than I was.
Yeah.
We had another question from Keenan, because we were talking earlier about knowing where you fit, and he said, "How about a Western Swings roots music group? Any recommendations for people who maybe are?" I know we have several bands that are coming. For instance, we got an Irish band. What if you aren't exactly the kind of fit that always plays there? How do you find the right fit for festivals and venues?
Prime example of that, you asked Cody several years ago.
Oh,
There
yeah.
was a country band that come and played at my festival. Loved it. Only band I've ever hired. When I heard them, I booked them that day when they come off stage.
And he said, and you got to hear
And
this.
when we
You
went to
gotta go hear this.
IBMA, I told her, Cody, you got to hear this bunch right here. She did, and let her tell you the rest of the story.
And I booked them every festival. They brought in more people. And I hate to tell you, they are not bluegrass, but it was the Malthus brothers. And these guys have already heard me talk about them, and I had people at my festival who are not bluegrass. Who are not traditional country, had no clue who they were. And they grabbed up their chairs when they came on the stage, because they come on with a drum set and some electricity on their guitars. And they grabbed their stuff and they were walking out until they heard them play.
I
And
think
then
that
they
goes
turned
to
around.
earlier talking about knowing that festival or venue, being able to describe yourself and your music and piquing enough interest just to get that talent buyer to come give you a listen, right? And have an open mind about you and how you might fit into their festival, even if it doesn't look like it from the get-go. And I know Beck and others wanted to just get even more clear on pricing, like what would be too low? What number, if someone is breaking into the festival scene for the first time, and they gave you a number, is there
There's not an
any
actual number,
clarity
but
on whoa, that, $200, what,
well, I can't give you numbers, obviously, because I don't know. But don't be offended if a festival gives you a number and it's low. There's always negotiation, and there may just be that's what they can afford. That's what we have left. We are on a very strict budget. We can spend this much money for all of our talent, and we may have already booked a lot of them, and we have room for one more, and this is what's left in the budget. So for your band, it's kind of objective. You got to figure out if it's worth it for you. You do your work. You're running your business. Do your homework and figure out if it's actually worth that. Again, don't be offended if the offer you get is low. There's a lot of reasons why it would be less than what you think. But I saw it on one of those comments. We do provide lodging. We have a hotel that we book. We don't book it for everybody, but a lot of bands, for the most part, we have hotel rooms that are available. So we do pay. That does come out of our budget as well. So
So it
to be
ultimately is
specific-
going to come out of your salary, Ultimately,
Right.
it's going to come out of what they're getting paid. So they have to know.
we also feed the bands, and I don't know if anybody's on here has been to our festival. I think we do a very good job of accommodating, hosting the bands. We have a lunch and dinner for them every single day.
And
So-
amazing baked goods.
Well,
Thanks.
I want you to hire me, Todd.
Yeah.
I remember those cookies.
any suggestions for international artists? We'd need to team up with a few talent buyers probably to get my band over from Nepal.
I don't even know where to begin.
I don't either.
this might be a question for IBMA in itself
There you
to have, IBMA reach out to the festivals and say, we've got a band from Nepal, bluegrass band. We'd like to do have them kind of organize a tour across the country. And that's about all I have on that one. I don't know. That's a good question. I
Might
would
want
love
to
to
check
see
with
that.
another band that's done it. And
Yeah.
there's probably a really good contact, a person that will organize it, deal with the visas and manage all of that. But they would need an American manager to do
Yeah.
it, I believe.
Anytime I've had an international band, they always come when I don't have a festival. That's
Yeah.
the hard part. So,
Right.
it's really tough to coordinate all that with international bands when they've only got 2 weeks or 10 days in the country and they're trying to go from A to B and all over the country, and the festivals are only on weekend.
Austin suggested too, talking to Henhouse Prowler, since in their role as bluegrass ambassadors, they have a lot of experience with the international exchange. So again, I think that's part of the networking. Go to that internet. There's one night when there'll be the international bands playing in the showcase room, and I think some of the networking that can go on with others who've been able to do it successfully would be really helpful.
I'm working with Grassy Strings right now. Paul Schimminger reached out to me to see if I could work with them, and I did find them a law firm that specializes in entertainment immigration visas. It is a process. It can be expensive. You have to have some commitments in place before they'll approve you. If you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to share that information with you. So maybe you can contact them and see what their fees are. It doesn't hurt to start that process because it can be a lengthy one. It's a pretty messy visa process. That P1 is a little messy right now in the United States, unfortunately, along with lots of other things. But if you wanted to send me a message, Zoe, I can get you that information.
And I forgot, I meant to also follow up on one social media question from earlier before we switch gears. So someone asked just kind of about, like, do you look at the social media presence, and then what are you looking for there?
Live shows, or videos of live shows. It doesn't matter if it's on Facebook, Instagram, X. It doesn't. We can look at them all, but we'd love to see your stage presence, and we get an idea of the energy from the crowd and what you're doing. So for social media, yeah, we can look at it all. We do look at it all.
Does it
And
matter how many followers they
No,
have at this point, or?
no, it does not. Because it's you can start a social media page when you start the band, and if the band just got together, it's going to be new. It all helps. It all helps, and I'll get emails from Rich. Rich James is the one that ultimately books at Podunk. With he and I look at a lot of the bands, and he'll send me a link. He's like, "Hey, check these guys out." And I'll send him one. I saw these guys, so we do share that a lot, and we do look at social media.
All right, awesome. All right, we're gonna move into really getting into crafting your pitch, and let's see, Todd and Coley are going to role play for you and give you an example of something maybe on the don't want to do side example, and then a well-crafted pitch and meeting with a talent buyer example. So does that work? Everybody can just see Todd and Coley right now, right?
All right, and I think
Okay.
they'll get started. I think Todd's gonna play the artist and Coley's going to play the talent buyer. First, let's hear how not to do it.
All
Oh,
right.
boy.
Hi, I'm Todd. I'm with this band. So where is your festival?
Well, it's in Texas, and it's way down in Texas, but you should know that. You came and sit down at my table.
But what are you? Is it a traditional festival, or is it you hire progressive bands, or?
I hire anybody that's within my price range that I like the way they sound. But you shouldn't be asking me these questions. I should be asking you. Sorry.
So yeah. So yeah.
We have 5 minutes, Todd.
Do you have any openings this year?
I can always have an opening. but it depends on how good you are and what your price is, and you got to know.
I don't actually have a band yet. I've got my buddy and I. We decided we were going to start playing on the road, and I've got a couple calls out, but we should have something together for, when your festival is.
Well, you spent an awful lot of money to get here to IBMA. I wish you had spent that on your band. Okay, I think that's the number one point is to work on your band, Todd, and your hair.
In my hair.
But yeah, put on that less wrinkled shirt next time.
Right. And just so
Right.
everybody knows, this happened to us. We had a band come up and do this. They didn't even have a band. They just came up and said they were going to have a band. So that's why I role played this, because it's actually happened to us.
Okay.
So-
Let's hear how to do it right then.
All right, here we go.
Take two.
All right. Hi, I'm Todd from the Dustbusters. We're a new traditional bluegrass band. We're from Heidi Ho, Virginia, and would love to come to your festival. I feel it'd be a great fit for the Hunk-a-Dunk Festival because we are traditional. We have a following in your area. We have our latest CD coming out about 3 months before the festival begins. And as your website schedule shows, you have gospel sets on Sunday, and we do gospel music and would love to be part of that as well. We also do, oh my gosh, we do workshops. We love to do workshops. We love to pick in the fields. And here's our card. This has got our QR code on it with our website. And these are our showcase times, or this, and that. We'd love to see you. And that's pretty much what I've got for you.
Fabulous. That's fabulous. The only thing missing is your hair, Tom. So I think just wear a hat next time.
Well, it's not missing. It's just not growing on my head anymore. So,
But yeah, he provided all the information that's good. And I can't think of a question that I need to ask him other than, do you know how far it is to Texas? You got to get that in your mind, mileage and stuff. And then we can work on a price, and we may have to discuss this later.
well, we're very flexible. We'd love to talk to you about price later. And if you need us, here's our information, and contact us anytime.
Perfect. Get out of my chair. Go on.
All right. So that's that. It can be done pretty quick.
Yeah, I can. And you can prepare for the next one as you're moving on.
And
That
organic
shows that you
conversation.
can be prepared.
Yeah, organic conversation can happen after that. It's not rigid as to how to come across. That's just an example of the information. You don't have to have all of that information, but it's a good example of a chunk of information that festivals want to know about. So that's what we came up with.
Can you think of anything else, Mike, that maybe he needed to provide?
No, not really.
No, he did pretty good, didn't he? I thought so.
Maybe he
Mark.
would want to say where he's playing over the next day or so. Offer a QR
Yeah.
code that takes you to the schedule
Yes.
for Todd's banjo band.
You
Yes.
mean in IBMA?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And
Where you're
Just-
staying.
yeah,
Because you're going to be outside your door. You're going to be in the hallway. You're going to be in the lobby.
I wanna address questions that keep coming up. What size? An 8.5 by 11. That's too. You don't need that big. Just one of those little. I don't know exactly how big they are, but they're a little bigger than an index card. That size is fine. That's the size that normally people have for us. But an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper is fine. Normally, what I will do is take a picture of it, because I don't want your information to get lost. So I'll have all pictures of everybody, and then I'll go back to the room and I'll sort out the cards and the pieces of information and come up with a strategy to come see the showcases. I hope that helps.
And do you prefer to talk price in person?
We can. It's
I
not.
do a little.
Yeah,
It can't
I
be
don't
real
really deal much with the
specific, but-
price. So that's Rich.
What'd you say, Todd?
I personally don't deal much with the price. Rich does more of that. But you
Well, I
can.
have to deal with the price because it's coming out of my pocket, and I need to know. I need to know if you're $10,000, you might as well move on. If you're a Rhonda Vincent price, I can't afford you. I'm sorry. But,
Right.
you know, bear in mind, I'm real easy to negotiate with.
In the last few minutes, what we'd like to do, first of all, hope that was a good opportunity for some of you. Did anybody hear a pitch that you thought would be a good one to share and, you know, to pitch again with the group and let Todd and Coley give some feedback? Might be your pitch. It might have been one that somebody pitched to you. Any volunteers?
I think Jordan should try it.
All right. We'll let Jordan and then we can let Jordan and then I think Austin's a volunteer if we have let him jump in as well. Jordan, if unmute and we'll let Todd and Coley be your listeners. You 5 minutes.
If you agree, Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, no, it's if you're up for volunteering, yeah.
Okay.
And you
It
can put your
sounds like-
you
it
can use
sounds like
speaker
you-
view, guys, if you want to.
It sounds like we have
Oh yeah.
faith.
All right.
Can you hear me well? I'm using kind of a funny device here.
Yeah,
Sound great.
I can hear you. How about you, Todd? Oh, there he
Yeah, I can
is.
hear.
Are we spotlighting in just Todd? Or
All right.
Okay. Who am I talking to? Todd.
All right.
Hey, Jordan.
Hi, Todd. It's so nice to see you today. My name is Jordan. I'm with a bluegrass band from Kelowna, Canada. We're in British Columbia. We are called Under the Rocks. And we've actually emailed a few times, you and I. You are the organizer of a festival, of the Bluegrass and La Roche Festival in France. We've talked, we've emailed, I don't know if you remember me, but you said you only hire bands that you meet at the IBMA. So it's really a pleasure to see you today, and I'm hoping to just make some connection with the hopes of playing at your festival. I think we would be a really great fit. We are a 4-piece bluegrass band that focuses on making authentic, moving music that gets people moving and dancing and smiling, but also gets their heart feeling a little bit. We like to tell stories. We write our own songs, but we also incorporate the odd traditional song into our set to keep people who are unfamiliar with our music familiar with our music.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm frozen on my screen. Okay, so you said you'd be coming over from Canada. So how would you get over here to France? And I'm
Well, we would
using my
have to-
best French accent that I can.
Yeah, it's hard to understand you. It's very thick.
Funny.
Well, we would need to fly, and in order to make your festival viable, we're planning to book a little tour in the adjacent area, so that if you are able to cover the bulk of our travel costs, then we can help make ourselves some money while we're over in Europe. And I think we can find an arrangement that works for both of us.
Okay, so you just want us to cover your costs, and what about for the festival itself? How much? What is your cost?
Well, typically for a festival, we would range between $3,000 to $3,500 range. But if you're able to cover our flights and our accommodations, then we can be a little bit flexible on that, because I know that you might not know who we are and we want to get our foot in the door, but also we got to make sure that we can keep doing this and putting food on the table.
Okay, well, are you playing here at IBMA so we can go see you?
Yeah, actually, we have 5 showcases this week. One on the international stage, and here's a card with the rest of them because my brain doesn't have them all right now. There's a QR code on it to some live performances, and yeah, we're really excited. Hopefully, you want to come check us out.
All right.
Well,
Your
nice.
5 minutes is up.
Nice.
Ding.
I think you did a great job. I like the idea of covering travel. I'm obviously with covering travel, and then kind of a neat way of approaching it. So that was good.
All right. All right, Kristen, do we want to let's put Austin on the hot seat then and let Coley be the talent buyer?
Okay, there's
All
there's
right.
Todd. Is he on the hot seat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
moving him out. Let's We're trying to navigate the
I know his
It's hard.
gig.
It's hard to tell the difference between Austin and
right. It is.
Hi, Austin. Welcome to Texas Bluegrass Music. What can I do for you?
Hi, so good to meet you. I represent the Rock Hearts, which is a traditional bluegrass group, 5-piece band out of New England. And we're made up of veteran bluegrass players from up here. So our banjo player, played with Frank Wakefield and Joe Val. Our guitar player subs with Tony Trishka as the lead singer and guitar, so that's his sound. Our bass player played with Jeff Scroggins, and he's kind of got a solid background of playing shows on the West Coast there. And our mandolin player was just inducted to the Bluegrass and Country and Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame up in Maine. He comes from a third generation kind of bluegrass musician family. And so we're kind of steeped in that traditional bluegrass sound as a band. And our recording now original music from songwriters in the Northeast. So some of those are members of our own band. And we're trying to capture the New England sound. We've kind of captured some of the history of Maine and Massachusetts and Rhode Island in the songwriting. But the group has played and recorded with Dale Ann Bradley and Danny Paisley, Michael Cleveland, and we've shared the stage sets near Special Consensus and Seth Mulder and Midnight Run. So that's kind of our general sound. I think you'd probably hear and relate the sound to, late 90s or early 2000s, maybe like Lonesome River Band or Third Time Out type of bluegrass, but usually appeals to the traditional bluegrass audiences. Alex McLeod is a really great front person. He's got a way with the audience. He's just a force to be reckoned with. I think he's got a big personality, and he's a really friendly guy. He's always hanging out with people afterwards. He's a very social, extroverted kind of guy. We promote our appearances at shows through social media and an email list. And sometimes if we do, I was nominated last year as a IBMA Mentor of the Year because of my work with kids academies and in the educational side of things. So we're always really involved with showcase workshop stages and teaching people to play and jam on bluegrass music, kids and adults and things like that. So that could be an added draw for the band.
The only thing you've left out is where I can see you while we're here at IBMA.
Sure. Well, we have the Rockhards are doing a number of showcases. We'll be at the Songwriter Showcase because one of the original songs of our band is being showcased there. And then we'll be doing showcases through we're actually co-hosting with another person in this room, the Rutabeggars. The Rutabeggars and Rockhards are co-hosting a ballroom showcase that's sponsored by the BBU. So we'll have a number of performances there, and we're working on a number of other ones through that we'll kind of release and have on a little card.
That'll come to fruition as you get there. Okay, so you're coming from, where are you, in New York?
I'm on the border of New York and Connecticut. Yeah. So
how do you propose to get?
Sorry.
How do you propose to get to Texas?
Well, most of us would probably fly out of any of the New York City airports or Hartford, Connecticut, or Hartford has a good international airport, Bradley, and Rhode Island actually has pretty nice airport too.
Okay. So you got to figure that in. Your airfare, that's pretty expensive.
All right, we probably need to stop. Yeah, call a time. We're hitting the 1:30 mark.
Okay.
So let's see if we can.
Thanks, Coley.
Well,
nice to talk to you, Austin.
And it does go fast. I'm telling you, you think that 5 minutes, it goes by quick, and you got to keep moving. So if you're the band pitching, my husband is the one that runs the dinger and the timer. So he's going to be going, he'll actually give you a 1 minute warning. He'll say 1 minute, and then you need to wrap up. So, I mean, because the next person is going to be waiting in line to get to because the talent buyers' schedules are usually full. Even though the artists only have 10 spots, the talent buyers are all full most of the time. So, okay.
Yeah. Well, huge thanks to our volunteers. You both did an awesome job. And if you want, at the bottom, there's a react button. You can react and, add a little something if you want to do that for all the artists who.
If you came on a little later, be sure we have your name and contact information in the chat. We will be sending out. We're going to be sending an email to everybody who's attended any of the 3 workshops we've done so far. So,
Yep. And and I know we're wrapping up. If you want to share a goal you have now or anything you got out of this in the chat, we'd appreciate it. We'll stay on for a few minutes just to answer any burning questions for those of you who want to stay. And here's our contact information. So if you want to reach out to us individually, Todd, Coley, me, Kristen, or Nancy, please feel free to reach out. And then Nancy and I, as the Music and Community Network, will be in the exhibit hall, booth number 516. We'll actually be right in with all the showcase artists. So if you find that section of the exhibit hall, it's pretty close to the front. Come say hi. We'll also have some consulting slots available where you can sign up. So we'll meet with you for 20 minutes, look at your press kit materials, look at your bios, and just give you feedback, on
Oh, that's great.
just
That's
consult
great.
with you. Yeah, right there on the spot. Or even any coaching. Like if you want some quick coaching around this kind of thing, like here, can I just try out my pitch with you and can you give me some feedback? Because I think that was really useful. It's a different way of speaking with people than we're used to doing. Right.
They may get more out of that.
And
than
it's no easy thing to, quote unquote, sell yourself, right? So, or pitch yourself in your
But thank
band.
you so much for coming. It's
yeah.
great seeing your faces, and we
Yeah.
look forward to meeting you in person in Raleigh in about a week and a half.
Yeah, and I'll be there Sunday. So if you guys want to meet Monday or whatever, anybody wants to say hi, I'm more than willing to sit down with anybody.
Right.
All right,
Thank you
sounds
all
great.
for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.